Hello friends, and particularly Tuba Skinny fans. Today I'd like to have a little chat with you about percussion in traditional jazz. So I'm talking drummers and washboard players in particular. First of all, I will tell you that I notice that drummers are often crowd pleasers. The fans love them in ways that they don't perhaps admire some of the other instrumentalists. So they certainly have an important role in that sense. And also drummers have to be pretty athletic, energetic people because there's a lot of demand on their arm muscles, their wrists, and also, of course, if you're playing drums, on the ankle for operating the pedals as well. So it's a jolly hard job being a drummer. But I'm going back to a really fundamental question here. Does a traditional jazz band really always need a drummer? And you may be surprised to hear that my answer is no. I think that if you have a really good rhythm section, let us say banjo, guitar, maybe a piano, certainly a bass of some kind, string or brass, and they really play well as a team and they keep an absolutely perfect beat, then in some ways it's better than having a band with a bad drummer, because you've got the beat, they're also providing the chords and the colouring. So, a band can survive very, very well indeed without a drummer, and indeed many bands do. But I think that if you've got a drummer, as I mentioned, a bad one or a not so good one, whether it's a drummer or a washboard player, that person can really spoil a band. And the way they can do this is they can wreck the tempo, or they can wreck the breaks when the band as a collection stops and just one player does a little bit of decorative couple of bars. If the drummer plays right through that, of course, it spoils it. Worst of all, a drummer can be too noisy. He thinks he's the most important person in the band and you hear him thrashing away all the time. And as for the tempo, going back to that, I recall one drummer in an English pub band who just really had one tempo. I would call it sort of medium slow. And no matter what speed the band leader tapped the tune in at the beginning, even if it was a very bright, quick tune, within a few seconds, the drummer had dragged it back to his own personal slow tempo. And this happened with every single tune the band played. So, there are drummers like that. And frankly, if that happens, I think the band is better without them. I think that drummers really should be felt rather than heard. I don't mean that 100%, of course, because they must be heard a little bit. But I hope you get my meaning, that they must provide a pulse that supports the music and colours the music, but they mustn't wreck what other players are doing. So that's my ideal for a drummer. And I think that there are many, many percussionists in New Orleans who fully understand that. Nearly all of the drummers you see there in the clubs are really wonderful at sort of not giving prominence to themselves, but giving tremendous support to the band in a very subtle and intelligent way. And of course, this brings me on to Robin Rapuzzi of Tuba Skinny. I think the important thing about him is he's a full musician. He understands melodies, he understands tempos, he understands structures of music, and he knows how to colour things, whether he's using his limited equipment with the washboard or his full drum kit. Remember that his background is that he started out as a full percussionist before he went to New Orleans. Then he found that playing in the streets, it was difficult to have a full drum kit, but in later years he did manage to get a carrier to attach to his bicycle, and he pedalled the big drum kit into the streets in the French Quarter, and he set it up, and quite often is videoed playing with a full kit there. And of course he can sometimes use it in clubs as well. And I did get to meet him on one or two occasions, and he told me that he far preferred playing with the full drum kit because it enabled him to colour things, such as with his Chinese tom drum and his Chinese crash cymbal, which were particularly appropriate in certain tunes that Tuba Skinny play. So Robin fully understands the music. His solos are really good. They talk to you. And you will notice that even when Tuba Skinny do a really weird tune, such as one that only has 10.5 bars, when Robin has a solo, you might think he won't recognize that half bar and he'll just play straight through it as 4 beats. But no, he even plays a 10.5 bar solo when that is needed. So he really is steeped in the music. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a very fine player, and he plays some lovely solos using the full range of his instrument. And before I leave this video, I should also mention that, of course, Robin's deputy, if you like, is Dizzy, who also plays the washboard, and she's got all those same qualities. She's a wonderful washboard player, very, very sensitive to all the structures of the music and all the different little colourings, without ever wishing to drown out anybody or dominate what is going on. You can see her regularly playing with the Shake 'em Up Jazz Band, absolutely brilliantly, and also quite often with Tuba Skinny, where she has to understand all the tricky structures of the tunes they play and not spoil anything by putting in a couple of beats where she should be silent or whatever. And Dizzy as well. I also had the pleasure of a little chat with her several years ago when I was in New Orleans, and I realized straight away she's a very intelligent person. She really knows her stuff. And also, people may not know this, but she's also played the saxophone in her time, and she regularly plays the piano now. So she is in fact again a full musician who thoroughly understands the music, and therefore she knows exactly what she's doing at any point. Right, well, I hope I haven't been too tedious on this subject, but I'm going to bring it to an end now. I know I've been a little bit controversial. I wonder what your opinions are about whether you really need a percussionist and what they contribute to excuse me, to traditional jazz. If you have any comments, I'd be pleased to read them. Please put them down at the bottom. And I hope to make some more videos of this kind. If you have any ideas for them, please let me know. That's it for now. Goodbye.